Hello everyone and welcome to another week in review, and I did not have time to set this I did not have time to set this one up on the couch the way I plan on doing the week in reviews, but rest assured I still have the couch and shots, and I will have more videos with the couch. I like the couch, so I will be using it. We've talked about it. I'm not going to harp on it too much, but yeah, either way. I just left this week in review till the last minute. This week in review is going up while I'm filming this Friday morning. I usually film these Thursday because I just need time to get these loaded, prepped, do all that stuff, and then don't forget, because of the religious aspect, once we hit sunset Friday night, I'm done editing, touching videos, any of that. So everything for Saturday has to be loaded by sunset Friday, basically. Anyways, so starting off in terms of, starting off with my voice, let's talk about that, because that's going to be an interesting one. My voice basically went out last Saturday, like halfway through Saturday, my voice decided to just cut out, and as Saturday went on, it got worse and worse, and then the first video that went up with my broken voice was going to be Stellaris on Sunday, and from there it's an interesting one because I film my videos at different points and they go up at different points, so you're even going to see videos tomorrow that I filmed Sunday when my voice was bad, which means we have this alternating voice that seems like I'm getting worse or not, but really it's just an issue of, well, the timeline of when I film these videos. So for context, let me think. There's going to be videos that go up next week even that have my broken voice. But I guess for context, when you watch this video, this is what I sound like as of a day ago from your stance. So I'm getting better in that sense. Don't let the occasional video, like even just yesterday, Wednesday, I threw up Wednesday? No, I'm losing time. Thursday. Thursday's video was a video that I filmed on Sunday, and I got a lot of comments saying, "Alex, you sound terrible." That's because I filmed it Sunday. I'm already slowly moving past that. But that's just an interesting thing. And I had a similar thing happen this week with someone commented on a video that they said, "I thought you got rid of the game." And it was like, well, I mean, I did, but this video was filmed a month ago, which that can happen as well. It's the weird nature of time in videos that they generally go up in a roughly similar order to what I filmed, and that's intentional. A part of that's going to be, I like the nature of the conversation. I like the nature of an ongoing conversation as opposed to content that lives forever, meaning inherently all the content that's around board games or reviews or all that lives forever. But if I film something and put it up a month later, time moves so fast, situations change so quickly that I feel that it might be slightly out of touch with the perspective of where we all are in the moment. And so I do try to have my content go up roughly when I film it. That doesn't always happen, but that's the goal that I aim for. And with that sidetrack around the nature of time and YouTube videos out of the way, let's talk about news. So, random news, a little bit over the place as usual, and to begin with, I guess I started throwing news in the title because people don't always know the Week in Review has news as well now, because why would they know, especially if they haven't been watching the Week in Review. But to start off with Townsfolk Tussle, I'll throw a link down below if I remember, but Townsfolk Tussle had a update. The game looks gorgeous. There are actually a few Kickstarters that had pretty solid updates that make me more interested in what's coming out. Kemet had an update, a bunch of updates from various Kickstarters. I probably shouldn't throw Kickstarter updates in the news because it would get very crowded very quickly, and also it'd be very biased towards what I backed. But then from there we have Dragon Prince the board game. So if you are a fan of the Dragon Prince TV show on Netflix, as my wife and kids all are, I liked it. I didn't love it. I liked it. I went through the full first season and I just didn't really care enough to go back for the second season. But if you're a fan of the Dragon Prince, well, the Brotherwise games, that's going to be Brotherwise, from Overboss, from Boss Monster, all those games, they are coming out with a Dragon Prince board game. I do not believe it's going to Kickstarter. I believe it's going to be open for pre-order shortly. But we're seeing more and more of these migrations from other content to the board game world. It's almost like board games are kind of a big deal. From there we have Marvel United is going to be doing their X-Men. I should have done this last week because, I mean, it's not really news. We knew this for a while, but we're at the point now where they're teasing it, so it's going to be their next Kickstarter. Generally, once Command starts throwing out their pictures of various, games or miniatures, or, hey, look at this miniature. Guess who this one is? It's totally Jean Grey. I can't see why you guessed that correctly this time. But either way, Command's next Kickstarter is going to be Marvel United X-Men. That's going to be more Marvel United. I'm torn but not torn. I say I'm not torn because I'm backing it, obviously, but I'm also torn because my biggest problem with the Marvel United series so far has been the lack of the characters feeling different, the lack of the heroes feeling different. They all are different to a marginal degree, but they just don't feel that way to me. But then again, there'll also be mechanics that aren't just new heroes, so I'll get it. Hopefully I like it. I need to get my Wave 1 stuff. It should be arriving shortly. That should be fun. I'll do an unboxing when that comes in. From there we have Z-Man. Z-Man Games is dropping their Euro Classics line. You know, all those reprint of Samurai, Tigers and Euphrates, Ra, all those like basically reprints from Kidz initially, but it was meant to be expanding out past that. They're dropping that line. They put out a post. It doesn't read the best from the posts I've seen from people, but basically the post kind of makes it sound like, well, with the between Kickstarter and not getting, you know, positive reviews from Shut Up and Sit Down, games just don't have a chance of surviving without those things. And so the post sounded a little bitter. I think it could have been, you know, looked over by someone first before sending it out to the public, but they basically sunsetted their entire their entire Euro Classics line. So if you're interested in those games, make sure to check them out, because Tigers and Euphrates and Samurai are about to be back out of print, and Ra, I think, was always hard to get. Was Ra even part of that line? I don't remember. But either way, they're sunsetting that line, and they're not doing any more games in that line. They will be focusing on their core titles for right now, and who knows what happens. Maybe they'll throw things on Kickstarter. I don't know. But they're not focusing on the line is the short version of that. So pick up those titles while you still can. Whatever's available is available, and after that, they are going to be all gone. Wild Assent. I did a review of Wild Assent, but they announced that they basically have a new Wild Assent expansion for Wild Assent is going to be coming out. There's going to be some production issues to be wary of because they're switching manufacturers. I mean, things may not match perfectly unless you buy upgrade sets. They'll give you a discount, but it's a thing, meaning you might have to pay more or deal with things that are slightly different. But ultimately, they have a new Kickstarter coming for new content for the game, which is great because I think 8 missions in now. I think I just finished my 8th mission, so another 2 missions left, and I will finish my campaign. I will be trying to do that before I get to Monster Hunter World, which is, well, behind me on the shelf. So I want to get 2 more missions of Wild Assent, then start doing Monster Hunter World, because I need to do a lot of content around that as well. There's lots of games lined up. Next Saturday is going to be like 4 Kickstarter videos going up on Saturday for you know, reviews or gameplays or whatever for that. So that's that. Then we have Asmodee. Asmodee is going to become the exclusive distributor for, I think it's exclusive, but they're becoming the distributor for Thundergryph games. There are like 3 other companies. There's Thundergryph, it was Endless Winter, Fantasia Games, and Everdell, Starling Games, Everdell. So they're basically becoming the US distributor, or the general distributor, I think, for a bunch of these lines, which means, on the one hand, more access to some of these games for many people. On the other hand, falls more into that Asmodee is swallowing up everyone. Although they're not actually swallowing up anyone in this case, they're becoming the distributor for those lines. It's an accessibility thing, but just in terms of if you had a hard time getting some of these games, well, and this winter you wouldn't have been able to get because it's not yet available, well, Asmodee will be carrying those. And so that covers our week in review section, which brings us to what I played, and spoiler alert, I have not logged everything throughout this week. I absolutely have not. I stopped logging on Tuesday, and I have not logged since, so I need to fill that out. I usually do fill these out throughout the week, although sometimes I just miss things entirely. So, this week, since the last video, I have played Trails of Tucana. I never remember exactly when I filmed these, so I played Trails of Tucana. Don't know if I said that last week with Rena. That was a game that I'll be probably doing a playthrough and review of it. I also talked about it on the Quackalo podcast if you want to listen to that. So this past week we talked about Trails of Tucana, my experience with it, and comparing it to On Tour to a degree. Maybe I'll do a full Trails of Tucana versus On Tour video. That would be interesting, I think. Maybe. I don't know. We'll see. Either way. I'm trying to get more back into some more play this, not that videos when I can. People have always said they like the format. I think I can do them better than I used to now that I have all these camera stuff that makes it look prettier, setting them up on the table. I think I can do more than when I used to just like hold 2 boxes and talk about 2 games. So I hope to do more play this, not that. In fact, I just filmed one yesterday for Cubitos versus Quacks versus Quedlinburg. Quacks and of Quedlinburg. So that will be going up actually next week though, not Saturday. And we have Long Shot the Dice Game. This is going to be a game that it's a roll and write version of Long Shot coming to Kickstarter soon. I will have a video going up next Saturday for that one. Tiny Turbo Cars. Oh my gosh, this was so much fun. So I played Tiny Turbo Cars together with Jesse, Jan, and Devin from Quacklope. It was a online play, so it's not a physical version, but online play. Tons of fun. Absolutely had a blast. Very excited for that one. I played Veiled Fate, the prototype. Jesse was in town, and he brought his prototype with him, and I had a chance to try out Veiled Fate. I wasn't as impressed with it, but I think my problems were more, I'll go through them more at some point in the future, but effectively the version is, Veiled Fate to me was always it was strategic deduction. It was an element of a game called Clans that I used to like, and I thought or hoped that Veiled Fate would be a better version of that game, and Veiled Fate is the same version of the game, at least for me, based on one play. It basically has the same issues I had with strategic deduction in general. It's a solid game. I find strategic deduction has its flaws. At some point I'll probably do a review and I'll cover it more, but I think people are going to be both happy with Veiled Fate, and I don't know, I'm walking in with baggage. I'm walking in with baggage because I was really hoping it would just be a better version of a game that I used to like, and it was not a better version, it was just the same. From there we have, speaking of Ivy Studios, we had Moonrakers. Moonrakers with 5 players, which I will not promise, I don't like promising, but I will not be playing Moonrakers with 5 players ever again. I think it took a good game and dragged it to a crawl. It's interesting, checking the ratings on BoardGameGeek after for player counts, there's actually a pretty big drop off between 4 versus 5 in terms of not recommended. So that was Moonrakers. We have Istanbul, oh my gosh, Istanbul is so much fun. It's been a while since I played Istanbul. I need to get the last expansion, Letters and Seals, in, but right now I play a core game and with Mocha and Bakshish, and it is so much fun. I love Istanbul, great game. At some point I'll do a review, but it's just such a solid experience. Spicy is a bluffing game that has started infiltrating our collection along with Cockroach Poker, and Spicy is great. Not as good as Cockroach Poker, but it might be, I think at 3 players it might be a better game, but in general I would say it's not as good as Cockroach Poker, but it is still a lot of fun. A few plays of Cubitos, which is Friday's when I played Cubitos for the first time. Got a few plays in there, and then another few plays throughout the week. We have Cusco. Cusco is an interesting one. So, Cusco is one that I feel I need to get some more plays in first. It is simultaneously very good in terms of the abstract strategy thing that it's going for, but I also had this feeling in the back of my head the whole time, I don't see why I'd pick this over Tigers and Euphrates, but I want to get it to the table again and see whether that's true after multiple plays. My first play had a little bit of rules issues, so it wasn't as streamlined as I would have liked. From there we played Oros. Oros is so good, I've talked about it already. Prototype only, not yet available, it'll be going to Kickstarter in July, but I'm really liking Oros. Very, very solid game with a very different feel to it. It has a different feel than classic games. More Wild Assent, Cosmic Encounter, got some Cosmic Encounter, and it's been a while since I played that. Some Cockroach Poker, some more Cubitos, the Monikers. I managed to get a game of Monikers in, the Resistance Avalon, we got 2 games of Resistance Avalon in, and then Magna Roma got some. Magna Roma's going to be going up next week. That was my second play of Magna Roma. I'll probably be getting in a 3rd or 4th play, and there'll be a review, possibly a playthrough going up next Saturday. That Kickstarter's going to be launching soon as well. What else is going up next Saturday? I don't remember exactly, I have to check my list. Past that, throughout the week, what else did I play? I'm trying to remember what I didn't log. I played some Zombie Kids. I played a whole bunch of Arma. Arma's, again, it's going to be going up on the channel. I played Masterward. Did I not log Masterward? Oh, I have a few plays of Masterward that I didn't log. I got a few games here I just did not log. I need to be better at logging throughout the week. And that's basically the week in review, both, well, the what I played, the news, which brings us to last week's schedule and coming up this week. So, Saturday, let's start with Saturday. Saturday we have a playthrough of Lost Ruins of Arnak with Rena. I really had a lot of fun with that one. It's just Lost Ruins of Arnak is so much fun, and the playthrough was just a lot of fun. I enjoy playing games with Rena quite a bit, especially now that I got to film and edit them after the fact, and just, I don't know, I like them. Either way. Skulls of Sedlec. I had a playthrough and review of Skulls and Sedlec with Ricky, and it was interesting. It's one of those challenges I have to figure out whether, do I want to play games with Ricky in terms of, do I want to play games with Ricky that are more adult-based, because people may get the impression it's a kid's game and not watch the video because Ricky's in it. And Skulls of Sedlec is definitely a full-on adult game. There's no kid aspect to it. Kids can play it, but that's basically it. But either way, we really like that game. Solid game. It's from Button Shy Games. Then we have Court of Miracles. Court of Miracles is one that I reviewed from Lucky Duck. It's solid. Didn't love it. It was fine. No, I should take it back. My first few games were really solid, but the more I played it, the more it drifted towards just being fine, and ultimately it's not staying in my collection. Skulls of Sedlec is, and obviously Lost Ruins of Arnak is in my collection. Nidavellir is excellent. That one is going to be, I'll review the expansion when I eventually get that as well. We had a playthrough and review with myself and Shira and Rena, and really, really solid game. Nidavellir is like the new Splendor, the new Century Spice Road. It's a solid, light yet not light game at the same time. From there we go to Sunday. Sunday's going to have Stellaris, should you back it. This is an interesting one because it's just a lot of drama around the campaign. We'll see how things play out. I'm curious. Ultimately, my big concern is not that I think they're going to put out a bad game. It's that I don't have confidence that they're going to put out a good game, if that distinction makes sense. It's not an issue of thinking it's bad, it's just lack of confidence that it will be good. And that's because they're trying to cater to an IP crowd. And the way I put it, I talked about this again on the Quacklo podcast, but the way I put it is, I have one of two thoughts about the campaign, and neither one is good in terms of whether I'm getting a good game out of it. The first is that Academy Games just doesn't know how to do a board game-based campaign. Now, I don't think that's true, because they've done it in the past, and they put out really solid games, campaigns, all that, so they know what they're doing. But one is just that they just straight up made mistakes across the board. Two is that they have an IP-related pressure on timing or crunch or something, I don't know what, and they had to put out a campaign before it was ready to go out. And either of those are not great for what ultimately is going to be in the final product, because those time crunches may exist in the final product as well. Those time crunches, if it's either time crunches or tactical decisions that don't reflect what people want, either one of those don't reflect well for the final product of Stellaris. So I am hopeful it'll be a great game, especially for the number of people backing it. I'm just not ready to jump in myself at that price point when I can get Eclipse 2nd Edition, Dawn of the Galaxy, whatever, for the same basic price point. Monday, to back or not to back, went through a whole bunch of campaigns. This upcoming Monday, by the way, there will not be a to back or not to back, because this week there's been like no real notable or few notable campaigns launching. So we're going to be doing a skip the week, and I'll talk about more what's coming up when I talk about what's coming up next week. On Tuesday, we had 10 things every content creator should know with Quackalope. This is one of those tough videos to put out because it's a much more targeted video. There's a subset of people who are interested in that content. But that said, I've had enough people who are doing content ask me for tips, advice, or whatever throughout the past year that, in addition to talking to them one-on-one when I can, I thought it was helpful to have a full video with all the aggregate tips that I can think of on a higher level. And something that someone posted, I think Broken People posted this, and he's right. None of these tips, I should have said that in the video, none of these tips in any way guarantee that you're going to get the result you want. They are all things that might help you get the result you want, but there's still a lot of things that go behind, from luck, from the way you talk and communicate, and the way you can hold someone's attention. There's any number of other facets to the high level tips we gave that are going to be a factor in success on YouTube or whatever channel platform you are on. Wednesday is what I did and didn't back for February. It's pushed off. It was done in late March because I kept pushing it off to fill other videos. I'm always trying to fill too many different video subjects that I want to talk about into a short enough time, so I kept pushing it off. But eventually I managed to get that one up, which means what I backed and didn't back for March will be following in like 2 or 3 weeks, so we'll see how that plays out. But ultimately, any notable ones, Primal's going to be a notable one for me. There's going to be a bunch of them in that video, but I like games. I didn't back too many. I think I backed like 5, which is, too many for some, don't get me wrong, but considering what I tend to end up backing these days that I shouldn't be, 5 is a number that I am reluctantly okay with. From Thursday we had how to get board games to the table, because it's a fun topic. It's this is a Patreon selected topic. They voted on that one as an option. But basically the idea is exactly what it sounds like. How do you get games to the table? How do you stop from your shelf of shame building up to just proportions that you're not happy with? And so, for myself, I do have a larger shelf of shame than I should. A lot of it's going to be related to content creation, the way my life has changed over the past year. Don't get me wrong, it was never small, but it was gotten worse. But at the same time, the flip side is I play 200 plus new games a year. And this year in 2021, I am on track to probably hit 250 or more unplayed games, new games played this year. And so that basically means I'm knocking out a game like every day and a half, basically, which is pretty solid, if I say so myself. And solid is a relative term, depends what your goals are. But in that sense, the question is, how do you do that? And so I get a lot of games played, and there are ways and tricks I use to getting those games played, to trying those new games out and getting them to the table. And that was Thursday's video. Friday is Deluxifications in board games. If you watched my recent video on Are Minis Necessary, this is kind of the reverse approach. Very different style to the way I talk about both videos. This one is just me going over what I like in Deluxified board games, and it's partially triggered by the fact that, there are two things that happen, and it was always, okay, let's take a step back. This is always on my list of topics. I have a list of topics to talk about that is like 200 topics long, that whenever I have an idea, it goes in this list, and then I talk about it at some point, and then combined with Sleeve Kings and Legendary Coins both reaching out to me to say, hey, we have a Kickstarter coming up, do you want to cover some of our stuff? And I'm like, I don't have a good way of covering just sleeves or coins. Is not really what I do. But then I was like, wait a second, if I have both these at the same time, I can combine them and do a video around my anyways topic of Deluxification. So I talked about those, and not paid content, by the way. I did get promo material for both, but not paid content from either of those, just me covering them, because Because first of all, I like Sleeve Kings and Legendary Coins. I mean, I like coins, but I never actually backed Legendary Coins before now. But that would be that video on Friday. And that brings us to today. Today, obviously, we have the weekend review right now. We have at 12 o'clock Eastern Standard Time, we have Zombie Kidz Evolution, me playing and reviewing it with Ricky. At 12 o'clock, at 2 o'clock, we have a review for Santa Monica from AEG. At 4 o'clock, we have a review and gameplay of Master Ward with Rena and myself, and Rena, Shira, and myself. That's going to be more of a party game, although a decently fun party game, all things considered. And then at 6 o'clock, we have a gameplay and review of Arma, which is going to be well, it's going to be an expensive, deluxe, over-the-top, wooden game, like Think Crokinole, and then change it up to a different game. That's Arma. It's a chariot racing game where you flick pieces around the track. Surprisingly addicting, I'll say that. So, like, to the point that I filmed the video, I popped it up, and then when Shira was over a few days later, she's like watching bits of it, and she's like, "That doesn't look interesting at all." And then we said, sit down and play it. And then before you know it, she couldn't stop playing it because it is surprisingly addictive. Next week, for that, just thinking about one thing. No, I'll cover it next week. I'm just thinking I'll cover one thing next week. Anyways, next week on Sunday, there is going to be a live Q&A Sunday, 10 a.m. I say that with a pause because I didn't check with Rena on scheduling. There will probably be a live Q&A Sunday at 10 a.m. Eastern Standard Time. And then throughout the week, there'll be 2 videos that are going up. Well, first of all, there's going to be a 24 epic campaign games video where basically I go through all the campaign games I have and that are coming and talking about, well, which ones I think are more likely to be staying and why. And then I hope, if I can get my research done in time, I hope to be doing the next in my series of going over pledge managers and what's open. So that will probably be, the pledge manager video will probably be taking the place of the Monday video of the to back or not to back, so that will probably be instead of that. I'm still going through it. I have like hundreds more links to go through to see what's actually going to make it into the video. I already reviewed and researched the ones from last video, what's left from there, and in the middle of going through all the new ones to see what is added. There's a lot of links. When you have like 10, 15 Kickstarters going up a week, and you wait 3 months to do the next one, there's a lot of new stuff to go through to see which pledge managers are open and all of that. Until next time, I'm Alex Radcliffe from BoardGameCo. Enjoy your week. I'll see you throughout the week and into the next one, and hopefully my voice continues to improve and all of that. Have a good one.